Hello my fellow YouTubers. In today's video, I'd like to talk to you about some tips and tricks when selecting contractors. And with that being said, let's head on over to my laptop. Contractors, finding the right one, and how to find qualified contractors. After you receive that property, you acquired your first property, but you find out that it needs repairs. Now it's time to find a contractor. So where exactly do you find qualified contractors? Some of the places I suggest you go to is your local Home Depot and Lowe's at the contractor's desk. Hang out there at the contractor's desk early in the morning between 6 and 7 in the morning, because that's when they normally go there to gather their materials and start asking questions and gathering business cards, because you might be able to acquire some of these people later on when you're dealing with your rehabbing. Your real estate and real estate investor association, your RIA associations that are in your local area. Get involved with those associations. Those associations will give you good tips and tricks on the local contractors in the area. Drive-through contract. Basically, you're driving around, you see some apartment complexes that are being built. You stop by and you talk to them to see what contractors or subcontractors they're using. Fundamentalist groups such as the Amish, they do great woodwork and things of sorts. So you might want to contact them and say, hey, I have this woodwork job that, how much would you charge me, so on and so forth. They provide good labor. Additionally, the local building department, they have to register at the local building department in their county. You might want to reach out to them and see who is registered and then contact those contractors for your bids later on. Craigslist is another good source. Building supply stores, you can go to building supply stores and gather the information. Just as you did in Home Depot and Lowe's, you can do the same thing at building supply stores in your local area. Major builders, you can contact major builders, see what subcontractors they use, and gather information so when you need it, you have it. Realtors are also a good choice when dealing with what contractors they use. A National Organization of Remodeling Industry, that's a website that you can look up. Those that are registered, look through your state, find out the area in which they're registered, and contact contractors through them. Angie's List is another good source. Home Advisor is another source on the internet while looking for contractors. Here's some ideas to keep in mind, things never to say when dealing with contractors. Never tell them that you're only doing one bid. If they find out that you're only doing one bid, they're going to look at your situation and say, oh, I can charge whatever for this thing because this guy's only going to use me. Don't do that. Always get 3 bids minimum. Separate materials from labor. Always materials and labor are separate when you're writing out the payment to the contractor. Always keep that in mind so that way you are ahead of the game. Never tell them you have a budget, because they might say, well, they're going to hit that budget. They're going to spend to get to that number. When in all actuality, there's a good probability that they can do the job for less than your budget. Never ask for a discount for paying up front. First and foremost, never pay up front. Have them do the work first so you can inspect it, and then you pay them for the materials and labor and what have you. Never tell them that you're not in a hurry. If you tell them that you're not in a hurry, they're going to take their sweet time and work on other projects that they have. You give them a specific date and give them some cushion too, because things arise. So you want to give them some cushion so when things arise, they have a buffer. So always add some extra time, add a buffer to that date that you tell them. Never tell them to choose the materials. Of course, they're going to choose the materials that are most expensive. If you can choose the materials and find out what materials you can choose, of course, you don't want to go extremely cheap because you're going to end up paying in the long run. It's better if you acquire the materials. Never say, I don't care who does the work. You never want that to happen. You want legal licensed people to be working on the contract, because if they get hurt or anything happens, you want to be licensed. And you also want to have some insurance in case they get hurt on the job, so that way you're covered. Handshake deal. Never do this. Oh yeah, let's shake on it. No, put everything in writing. You never want to do a handshake deal. The good ones. Now keep in mind, you have to be the right customer. Why is that said? Because if it's a good one, that means that everybody's looking for this particular contractor. That means lack of work is not his problem. He has abundance in work. So that means he can be picky and picking who he wants as a customer. So you have to be the right customer. And how is that done? Know the job. Know exactly what you need done on a particular project So that way that contractor that you're trying to acquire says, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about, he's done his research, and you're more enticing as a customer. Pay them on quickly, pay them on time. If you want to acquire these good contractors later on, you want to pay them on time and you want to pay them quickly. Everybody likes to get paid and everybody likes to be paid on time, so keep that in mind. Explain everything in the beginning. Let's say you're working on the bathroom, you tell them a specific location where you want the fan, and the fan is placed in another location. No, explain everything specifically so they know exactly in the beginning everything that needs to be done. There's no questions asked. The good ones, continuing on here, as good contractors, you want to get recommendations. Say, hey, I know you're busy, but who do you recommend that has done the electrical work in the past, or plumbing, or whatever situation you might need? Those good ones also know good subcontractors. So you can also ask suppliers for the recommendations of the good ones to get contractors and subcontractors for your needs. Remember, you want to get at least 3 bids. Always get a minimum of 3 bids on any project that you're getting done. You can also drive by a site on a late Friday afternoon. If you're driving by a site on a late Friday afternoon and they're still there working, those guys are the guys that you want working, because there's many a times that people say, oh yeah, I've been working on a project for who knows how long, and you drive by your project and they're not there. So I'm not saying they're liars, but I'm saying be careful and leery with people. One of the things you could do is you can have your spouse, your wife walk up and say, hey, can any of you guys do some subcontracting on roofing or plumbing or whatever the case may be? And then that way they don't get intimidated of this individual coming up to their work site, inquiring about their labor. So that's just a tactic that you might want to use when trying to acquire subcontractors. The price is not always the issue. You got to keep that in mind. Just because they're the cheapest one doesn't mean they're the worst one. You have to remember there's some people out there that do some great work, but they're beginning their business and they're a subcontractor to a major contractor. So with that being said, just because they're the cheapest, let them do the work, let them do the bid. But I would do at the end, I would say, hey, by the way, I got some other bids and you were the lowest, but you did a great job. You might want to consider raising your prices. Let him know, because that way, he makes money, because this is a business about making money and creating relationships. So you want to keep that in mind. Remember, when you're looking at the bids, what you're basically looking at the difference between 10 and 15%. So if you're looking at 3 bids, the differences should be approximately 10 to 15% between all 3 of them. It shouldn't be some exaggerated number. If somebody's charging you $1,500 for one item, then you go get another bid and the guy's charging you $3,100. No, that's exaggerated. So make sure you do your homework and get at least 3 bids. Once you interview enough people, you'll feel good about the contractors and which one you should go with. You'll get the feel about it, and in time you'll start learning tricks and tips as you're dealing with them. So after you talk to enough people, you're going to know which ones are the good ones and which ones are going to fit your needs. Keep money back and work ahead. What that means is basically you're going to have them do the work first. And then after you expect the job, then you're going to pay them their money. Because you don't want to pay them first, then they run away with your money, then you've lost your money and never got anything done. So you want them to do the work first and then pay them. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and please don't forget to subscribe. And if you would like to receive future videos like this, please click on the subscribe button as I stated. And also, if you want to see my #1 investment tool for making money online, click on the link below. And if you're looking for distressed properties, go ahead and click on the link below for my partners at Coast to Coast Capital Partners, where we search distressed properties and we help people with their investment needs. I thank you guys, and I'll see you on the next video.